Hey, today I want to talk a little bit about one of the biggest mistakes that we make as salespeople. And that's the mistake of having too much pride. Now listen, first of all, you got to have some ego to sell and to be successful, but there needs to be a balance between having that ego and that confidence and that swagger and being too prideful. You know, pride, and I got some notes here that I'm going to go through because this is some stuff that we talk about in the Contractor Sales Academy, and I just want to share some things that we discuss to help you be a little more equipped immediately right now, this week, in your sales process, okay? So listen, pride causes us to make assumptions. You know, we get in front of a homeowner or a client and they say something, and in our mind we have the answer because this is what we do for a living, right? We fix these problems. We build these decks or houses or paint walls or build water features. We have the answers. We usually know what the problem is. But our pride, if we're not careful, will help us or will cause us to make the wrong assumptions about what's really important to somebody. You know, we're prideful because we fear looking bad. We want to come across like we're the expert, which we are, but sometimes that pride and that desire to want to come across as the expert gets us into trouble because we run our mouths too much, and that's never good. Pride also causes us to come across as being salesy at times. And here's the big one. It really keeps us from getting at the true pain or pleasure that the client has, from really understanding what's important to them. So I'm going to give you guys a couple things here today that I think will help you overcome the pride and really be able to get better as a salesperson almost immediately. But you have to be willing to be dumb, okay? You have to be willing to put all your knowledge aside and really learn to ask what we call dumb questions. So let me give you some examples. Some great dumb questions are things like, hey, what would happen if you start a question with that? Let's say the homeowner says to you, and I'm going to go through some examples here in a minute, but let's say the homeowner says to you, well, it's really important that the job is done by, December 19th. Most of us do what we call the pounce. We want to look good, so we go, oh, we can finish it by December 19th, no problem. Well, a dumb question is going to be, well, hey, Joe, just out of curiosity, what would happen if we didn't finish the project by December 19th? You never know what you're going to get on the other side of that. I've actually had it happen where they go, well, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but in a perfect world, my mother-in-law was coming in, but, this and that. So by asking dumb questions, you can really get to the heart of things. Another dumb question that I love, my all-time favorite, is what do you think we should do now? Okay, that's one. Or the if you had a magic wand question is a great one. Hey, if you had a magic wand, what would we be doing here? Don't always be so quick to make suggestions for people until you've taken the time to really ask some good questions. And so let me give you guys a couple scenarios here. So let's say I say to the homeowner, let's do this. I'll go sales guy, homeowner, okay, to make this interesting. So, hey, listen, we could build you a smoking hot patio with a fire pit, water feature, pergola, that would be the envy of the block for you for, I don't know, 30 to 40 grand. Or we could just come in and do a simple patio and a seat wall for $12,000 to $15,000. Which conversation does it make sense for us to have? Now, the homeowner. Well, I think we're more along the lines of $12,000 to $15,000. Let's talk about that. Okay? This bracketing thing we'll get into in another video will always help you get to their budget. All right, so basically I laid out a scenario. They chose one of the brackets. They said, well, let's talk about the $12,000 to $15,000 option. Okay? This is where a lot of guys, again, back to the pounce, make the mistake of not being dumb. We go, okay, well, 12 to 15, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. All right? And we start running our mouth, diarrhea of the mouth, whatever you want to call it, and a lot of times talk yourself out of a sale. A dumb question would be, hey, we could build it 30 to 40 or 12 to 15. Hey, 12 to 15 sounds good. Hey, great, just out of curiosity, if I were to come out there and, I don't know, came up with a price that was $13,500, what would happen next? and then shut your mouth. See, the what would happen next question is what we would call a dumb question, but it's basically giving you control by giving them control. You're putting it back into their court, because a lot of us are just gonna go, great, they give me a $12,000 to $15,000 budget, and now I'm gonna run out there, tap dance. Okay, so I want to encourage you to slow the process down and ask a dumb question like a what would happen next. All right, let's talk another example of a dumb question. So let's say we're back to the 30 or 40,000, 12 to 15,000, which conversation do you want to have? They turn around and go, wow, that's a lot more money than we planned on spending. I mean, how many of us have heard that in the past? I know I've heard it a lot, okay? Here's a great dumb question. They just told you, wow, that's a lot more than we planned on spending. Hey, listen, that's understandable. What do you think we should do next? And you shut your mouth. Don't break the silence. It's gonna be awkward. It's gonna feel crazy. But what you're doing is you're forcing them to a decision. They might say, well, maybe we should just be done and talk to one of the other contractors, which is great because you're basically on the telephone with them right now and you didn't waste your time and run out there just to have them say, wow, you're way more money. Or maybe they say, huh, that's strange. I wonder why you're so much more than the other guys. And I might say, well, is that something that you might want to explore? Should we talk about that? Okay, so by asking a dumb question, you can always get to the heart of things. Okay, the last one I want to talk about here, a dumb question. You ever have this happen? You're on the phone and they go, maybe, let's say you've gone out there. You're standing in their yard. They're standing in their living room. And they say, thanks for coming out, but to be honest, I think we need to think about it for a while. I hate that one. You, hey, thanks for being up front with me. One more question. You seem to be a bit uneasy about the money. Is that the case, or am I misreading you? Now, that's not only a dumb question, but that's a bold question. Because, I mean, how many of us would really want to say that to somebody? But this is where you got to get your head right. Let's just deal with the elephant in the room, okay? Because I've had it where I've been in front of prospects before, and everything's great. And we got this bond, we have this rapport, they like me, I like them, we're hugging, we're singing Kumbaya, they're making me hot chocolate, you know, I'm petting their puppy, and then money comes up, and then the whole tone changes. So don't be afraid to address that elephant in the room. Okay? And maybe you go, well, is that the case, or am I misreading you? It just seemed like when we brought the money up, you got uncomfortable here, you got uneasy. Are we good? And maybe they say, well, it is a bit more than the other bids we got. Another dumb question. You know, hey, I hear that from time to time. Should we rethink the scope a little bit, or are we done? And you shut up. And they will always guide you to the next move. All right? So hopefully some of what you heard today will resonate with you and you put it into practice in your own contracting business. It's this stuff like this that we work on and we develop in the Contractor Sales Academy. And the big difference maker is the relationships that you have in this academy, because we practice this stuff and we role play it from time to time, and we really encourage you to put yourself in these situations so that when it happens in real life, you're ready for it, that you're not surprised, it's not more uncomfortable than it needs to be. So I appreciate you hanging with me for a few minutes here today. If any of this is making you go, man, this is good stuff, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and don't be afraid to visit us over at the contractorsalesacademy.com. We'll see you next time.